Welcome to the brand new ETS Travel Podcast. We are so excited to share with you all about the different journeys of faith you can take with your community. I'm Bethany Barbary, and I've been with Educational Travel Services for 22 years now. I'm joined by John Cavara.
Yep, John Cavara here. Been with ETS for 10 years now. Started in 2015 out of high school, and been loving it ever since.
And then we also have David Welch, who is our VP of Sales.
I joined ETS a few years ago, and it has been such a joy to work with you guys and some of the others, but also to be able to open this world of faith-based travel to the travel agent community and to their guests. I'm loving it. It's so exciting, and you get paid twice.
Absolutely.
So you get paid financially, but then also with the joy of knowing that you're helping people in their walks with God. So
yes, and we are super excited to be bringing you this brand new podcast. We plan to make it available on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you can download a podcast. We are going to start out by covering 5 myths about faith-based travel in this brand new series for you. So before we get started, I did just want to share a verse today that I felt was very topical to the subjects we're going to cover. So we're going to be reading from Isaiah 43:18 through 19. It says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." So I hope you enjoy this new transition from webinars to a podcast format, and hopefully God will bless our endeavors. So today, the first myth that we're going to be busting is, are we a travel wholesaler? Is that what we do? So I'm going to invite David to share a little bit about our founding story.
So that's great. And Bethany, you really are the one who should be sharing because you were here first. I knew about Educational Travel Services, ETS, for quite a while, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, where I really just dove in and I said, okay, this is what I want to do, working with CEO James. James Ridgway is actually not the founder, though. Well, exactly. His father was, and his father started ETS in his garage. They made a lot of sacrifices, but they got back from, I think it was a tour to the Holy Land, and it changed his life. And he said, oh my goodness, most Christian pastors or priests have never had this type of experience and wouldn't even know how to start. That's not really what you go to seminary to learn how to do. So why is nobody helping them? And he started this company, and it just snowballed into this massive entity that is helping hundreds of thousands of people, not every year, of course, tens of thousands every year, go to the Holy Land and other destinations of faith and heritage. And so I've respected the Ridgways for many, many years, but it wasn't until James invited me to come on at ETS that I got to be firsthand involved in this process. So it's not transactional for us. When you say just a travel wholesaler, it's not transactional. This is a ministry. And the Ridgways, this is their family legacy. They have the 3rd generation of Ridgways working here at ETS. So some of you have worked with Jemmy before. Wonderful, wonderful family, and I'm honored to be able to partner with them.
Yeah, and to speak more to the ministry, me personally, I grew up, my father was a minister, both my grandfathers were ministers, so I grew up in and around that. So starting here in high school as well, just like John, it was really exciting for me to do not just a job, but something where I really felt like I was helping to change lives and to help educate people about their faith and help them just dig a little deeper. So we talked a little bit kind of briefly about our founding story, and maybe one day we'll do a podcast on the whole story because it's very long and it's very amazing if we really dig into our history and just how God has blessed this company and just sustained us through all kinds of different world events. And it's crazy. Anybody that's really interested, you can also go visit our website, and we've got a whole video on it, and it's absolutely fascinating. So, one of the things Dr. Ridgway really wanted to accomplish was, getting pastors to experience the Holy Land, because after he got to experience the Holy Land, he saw how it came back and changed his personal ministry, because that's how he started out, was a minister. And, he wanted other pastors to kind of have that experience. You want to talk a little bit, John, about some of the pastors you've worked with that have come back kind of changed from these journeys?
Oh, yeah. Well, first, a lot of, like how you said, a lot of pastors, they don't think something like this is a possibility, which is why, the statistics are, I think the last time we checked, 96% of pastors haven't considered leading a faith-based tour. So it really is a something that a lot of them, they don't think it's a possibility, and once they do overcome that objection and find that it is a possibility, and you can have such great fellowship and great connections with your community and tithing and all of that back to the church, we've just seen it time and time again that it's such a great impactful thing to do, traveling as a ministry. And yeah, every pastor that I've worked with, every group leader that I've worked with, they've always sung the praises of how it's changed their personal tie to the Bible and their congregation too. Getting to experience these things in country and following along with the stories of the Bible, it's something that's so valuable. And each pastor that I've worked with, that's the biggest thing that they've honed in about is for them personally, it really reawakened and really gave them a new purpose of why they're doing this. And also for the community as well. It's just a huge thing to do as a ministry together, to create a travel ministry, which is obviously our founding. It was based off of a very similar situation. So it's definitely great to see.
Yeah.
I'd like to add one thing to what John's saying. Many of these leaders have the opportunity to bring their children or invite people in their congregations to bring children. And when you see that multi-generational impact, discipleship-wise, of what these opportunities do for let's say, not just college age, but high schoolers, to have something that's very two-dimensional to them. They don't understand when you read a verse about streams in the desert or in the wilderness, they can only conceptualize it unless maybe they've been to Arizona or Utah. But when you actually visit the wilderness and it doesn't look like the cartoons that you watch on TV, it's actually a very different thing. And there's seasons that are effective, that affect what a wadi looks like, a stream in the desert. That is life-changing when it comes to how you read the scriptures. And so it affects discipleship in a different way. And so when these pastors, clergy people, priests that don't have their own physical children, but they have their flock, experience that and see the life change of the discipleship that happens on the ground, and then for the decades following, they come back for more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just one more point I want to talk about is the fellowship aspect. That's always been so meaningful. Anytime I've gotten to travel with a group, it's amazing. I've traveled with some very large church groups and stuff before where, it's a church of 10,000 plus people. They've got 6 campuses. Well, the pastor decides to lead a trip and he takes 200 of them. So you have somebody that maybe went to the north side campus and somebody from the south side campus, they get assigned to the same bus. They would have never met in this huge church of 10,000 people, but because they decided to step out and take this journey of faith with their pastor, they met. And I know some of them, they still have this lifelong connection and they've got this new best friend, and now they meet up, once a week for just a personal Bible study and things like that. So it forms such amazing connections, especially if you have a large congregation. So that's something that's always been super amazing to me as someone that kind of grew up in a larger church. I didn't know everybody there, but I knew the people around my pew. So if my church had been doing things like this, maybe I would have gotten to know people that sat on the other side of the church and things like that, and created this lifelong connection with them. So,
or multi-generationally, like maybe, a lot of times people mostly relate to people their own age, but if you're traveling with them, those barriers go away. So then suddenly you've got a 70-year-old who's interacting and kind of mentoring a 14-year-old. And
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and something I would add to that too is, even not if they're a part of the same church, just because a lot of times we're in situations people are traveling by themselves, and they might be paired with a roommate that they've never met, and that's just a great way to
Good point.
meet people that maybe live in a different state or different country in some cases, and creating lifelong friendships, with that common ground of fellowship. It's just something that's so moving to see.
Yeah, so diving in a little bit more on why we're not just a travel wholesaler. So some of the things we offer that really make this impactful and amazing is we have truly turnkey travel solutions. So we have set itineraries, standard departures, anybody can join. If you're a travel advisor, you can invite your pastor or people from your church. If you are a group leader or pastor, you can look at some of our standard departures and say, I really like that. I've got free time in June. I see you have a date in June, and just go ahead and start signing it up. And we've got marketing pieces ready to go that we can customize for you, and it's super easy. We also have amazing customer service for the travel advisor and for the guests as a new offering as well.
Absolutely.
So, John, since you come from a background of you actually were a tour manager and you helped our travel advisors and group leaders, can you talk a little bit about what kind of customer service we offer?
Absolutely. We offer, like you said, superb customer service. It's not about just making a sale and then everything else after. We are just hands off with from the time that you come to us, from the time that you return from your journey, our customer service is impeccable. So what our tour managers do, specifically for our travel advisor community, is they're there to help you with all the documentation that's needed. So, obviously most destinations you're going to need a passport. We know that. There might be other requirements that are needed for specific destinations. And that's what a big part of the tour manager role is going to be, helping the travel advisor with that part of it. And then as far as the guest is concerned, just dealing on a direct level of, what is my, balance, helping make switches to where they're flying from, helping to add various different items to to their booking there.
Or even simple questions like, what should I pack?
Exactly,
or
yeah.
maybe what's the weather going to be like? And so the tour manager team and then our customer service team, they're so great. And they absolutely amaze me because they have to have knowledge of all of our different destinations, which we pretty much travel at this point to every continent. So, and I always appreciate the team is so wonderful. If they don't know something, they'll be totally honest and be like, I'm not sure, but I'm going to find out for you and I'll get back to you. And they are, exceptional about that customer service and caring and getting back. So, that's just something, having started myself working in the mailroom, I did customer service and then I did tour management, the tour managers, and now to be in sales. So, I've experienced all of that. And I have to say that's something I take a lot of pride in that I think our company does really, really well versus, some travel companies and wholesalers you call and you might not get somebody, you're waiting on hold for 30 minutes. For any of you that have ever had to call a cruise line, 30 minutes is a low estimate. So we really do.
Hey, we love our cruise lines.
We love our cruise lines, but they sure have a lot more customers than we do when they're dealing with in the millions. So just by pure numbers, it's going to be a lot harder for them. But we do take pride in typically nobody's waiting more than 10 or 15 minutes, and we try to be as available as we can.
Yeah, personal relationships are what we pride ourselves in. We oftentimes become great friends with who we work with because it's not just a number. You're not just a number to us. We actually have personal connections with you and like to build that relationship, and it's definitely very meaningful that I've seen here.
And in our Tuesday meetings, we pray for travel advisors.
Absolutely.
They'll let us know on a phone call, I'm going through this health condition or we're moving or something. And many of them will be fine with us praying for them as a team. And I think that sets us apart as a company, as an entity, that we really do have not just that friendly connection, but there's a faith component to it.
Yeah, very personal, yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and plug that as well. Anyone that has, prayer requests and you've been traveling with us and you want us to lift you up, you can always feel free to send those in to us as well. So we also, a little different, typically a lot of travel wholesalers. They kind of specialize in either land or cruises. And we really try to do a mixture of both and have as many options as possible for you to travel on. So coming up soon, we are going to dive into what's special about those different kinds of products. But I really wanted to thank John and, of course, you, David, for being with me today and joining in on the show. I hope all of you enjoyed it and that you took some inspiration from Dr. Ridgway's story about how you can have a life-changing experience and turn it into not just a business, but a ministry that just impacts thousands and hundreds of thousands of lives at this point in time. So as we wrap up, I've got one more Bible verse to share with all of you to close out. I wanted to remember Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own.
Ouch. That's so convicting.
Sorry, that was kind of a personal one for me because I am a worrier. So I thought it was a good reminder for everybody. You know, you can kind of take tomorrow, let today go away. Don't worry about yesterday. Focus on what God has planned for you in the future. So if you enjoyed the podcast, I do hope you'll please subscribe. Go ahead and leave us a nice review, especially on Apple and Spotify as we try to grow this.
Will not hurt our feelings.
Not hurt our feelings at all. We hope to grow this and get more people excited about journeys of faith and travel ministry. So coming up on the next episode, we'll go ahead and give you a spoiler. We're going to be busting myth number 2. The destination is what makes it faith-based, or does it?
Suspenseful. All right, everyone, we appreciate you joining and listening to us today. Next time, we look forward to seeing you right back here for some more information and myth busting there.
All right. Shalom.
Bye, everyone.